Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I'm so excited to be back with all of you for another episode of the podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us and helps the bands and artists like Winter McQuinn. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear, RAR. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Winter McQuinn, how are you today? All the way from Berlin, Germany.
Good, going good.
You said it's a little dreary today, but you're loving life in Berlin. Talk about for people who've never been to Berlin, like if you were a real estate agent, how are you selling the city?
I mean, I've only been here. I've only spent like 2 weeks here, but it's great. Lots of history, multicultural, pretty affordable. Talking like €5 for the best kebab you're ever gonna have in your life. Um, yeah, a bit dreary, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, you've been a globetrotter basically since the beginning of the year. I mean, we kind of talked about this. You've been to Canada, you've been to New York City, you've been to LA, now Berlin. You've got this tour coming up in a week. How are you feeling about all of this, globetrotting and being away from
Yeah,
home?
good. It's been incredible. It's been a really life-changing experience. All the places I've been have been so distinct from each other as well, which is quite interesting. Um, yeah, like I came from Australia, I went straight to rural Saskatchewan in Canada, it was like a 50-degree change because I was coming from summer in Australia right into the kind of end of winter, start of spring in Canada, and it was like negative 10 degrees Celsius. Um, remember stepping out of the airport and being like, oh man, I gotta go right back inside and put all my clothes on. Yeah, and then I don't know, it's been a nice mix of recording and writing as well as playing, which has been really nice and kind of rare. I feel like other times when I've been traveling, it's just been touring. So like every night a different city and a show. But it's been nice to like spend some time in each place. Yeah, it's been great.
Is it hard to kind of put on like a different hat then, like when you're touring and trying to record, or is that kind of seamless for you?
It definitely like takes a couple days either side, I think. Like I was in Canada and LA and that was strictly writing and recording. And then I was in New York for a week and that was kind of there was no writing going on. It was like rehearsing and kind of getting ready for the festival. And then in Berlin, it was just one festival I was doing, and then I was staying with some friends. We were kind of doing some writing, but it was pretty like more casual, I think.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it is kind of does take a few days to separate the hats.
Yeah. I mean, as a solo artist, you are clearly a collaborator when it comes to songwriting. Obviously, with the third album, where does that come from? That earnest to collaborate, I guess.
Yeah, it's just exciting. I don't know. I'm just interested in how other people approach songwriting, and you're always gonna like get ideas or even like learn new chords or ways of thinking about melody from other people that you just never would have thought about. Yeah, like you can approach the same song in so many different ways with different people. So I think it's just beneficial for you and it's fun as well.
Yeah. It's very humbling too. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, totally.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, you said your parents were kind of musicians. Talk about, how they kind of influenced like you going on this career path.
Yeah, growing up around, two working sound artists definitely was very inspiring. And, they make art and music that's way more avant-garde and left of field than my music. Which I think it was really cool to grow up around that because it really like allowed me to have an open mind. And I'm making a lot more stock standard music than they are. Um, but yeah, I think they're continually inspiring. They've been doing this for like as long as I've been alive, 26, 27 years, and before that, obviously. So yeah, huge influence.
Yeah. So when you were in LA, obviously you were only there for a short time, so you didn't get a real taste of it. But, a lot of people that go to LA, it's either they love it or they hate it. What was your take on LA?
I loved it, but yeah, I've also heard this as well. I think I was lucky. I had some friends there who showed me around the good spots. Um, Definitely should have hired a car. I spent a lot of money on Ubers, which wasn't awesome. But yeah, I found it really inspiring because there's so many kind of indie, small musicians kind of making it work. Yeah, it was just kind of cool to be in like a mecca for that.
Yeah.
Especially for my music. There's a lot of people from LA that connect with it. So it was cool to like meet those people and also write with some people that I've looked up to for a long time. Um, so yeah, I'd say I loved it.
So how much was like that in advance trying to get all of that together for like when you were in LA? Like getting all of those like meetings together. Like,
Yeah, it was a lot of pre-planning. My publisher set up one writing session for me, which was helpful, and then the rest was just me organizing and hitting up people. Everyone was so down, which is great. Like very happy to meet up and record or even just hang out. Um, yeah, but yeah, lots of pre-prep.
yeah. So then you head to New York City, the Big Apple, your first time in New York City.
Not my first, but first time as an adult. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, what did you think? What did you think about the festival? What did you think about, New York City?
I love New York. It was great. It felt a lot more familiar than LA. It didn't feel as American.
Mm,
Um, LA is like very American. And New York, I don't know. New York felt like London to me. I think just like robust public transport and like,
mm.
I don't know. Yeah. Soho and stuff. The festival was great. I thought we had a really good time. It was cool being able to walk to all the venues and meeting so many different people. Yeah, a few people that were telling me they'd come to the festival just to see me play, which is like crazy to hear. Um, yeah, it was great. Had a great time.
Yeah. Our mutual friend Leanne, she was very upset that I was getting to see you in New York City. And she was
Oh man,
I think
yeah.
she was in London, I think, right? I think, is that what she said? She was going to London. But yeah, Leanne from WXNA in
Yes,
Nashville.
shout outs.
Yeah, she is wonderful. How did you guys connect? How did she reach out? Did she reach out to you or?
I think so. I can't remember. I do remember we did an interview once where I was in Spain and she was obviously in Nashville, and that was maybe the first time we like met. Yeah, like over the phone. Yeah, I'm not sure, but she's great. Shout out Leanne.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is in Australia, but a lot of, the radio stations here in America, it's kind of a conglomerate. It's iHeartMedia. There's just not a lot of college radio stations. There's not a lot of indie radio stations anymore. Is that kind of how it is in Australia?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're lucky we have a pretty like um amazing community radio scene in Australia. Obviously it's small because Australia is a small population, but we've got about like five really good independent community run radio stations in Melbourne alone, and
Oh,
then
wow.
like a few more in Sydney. There's like one in every major city that is like independent and really supportive of music, and people really like pay attention. And then we have the national broadcasters as well. But yeah, I think we're lucky. I'm finding out that that's a rare thing.
Yeah. I mean, even just like you were saying about how you got funding to be able to do this trip, talk about, shouting out those organizations that, help you
Yeah,
financially to do this.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. Finding out that that is also a fortunate thing. So I got funding from an arts council here called Creative Australia, who fund musicians and artists and a multidisciplinary
Mhm.
crew. Which was very fortunate, very lucky. Shout out them. And then I also got a songwriting award from someone called Upstart, which is for like Victorian songwriters, which is the state I'm from. Yeah, both of which just totally allowed this trip to happen, really.
Yeah, I mean it is amazing. Like I told you before, like it just crushes me when a band is either on hiatus or quits because of financial reasons. And like, yeah, you would have never been able to do this festival if, because Australia to New York, I'm sure that plane, Ride was quite expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. Yeah.
And then you're bringing your equipment as well. I mean, how is that train? Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that. Yeah, I mean, when you're touring, like, how much of a stress is it trying to get all of your instruments, your equipment, like from city to city, like that? That transfer that kind of gets lost in like fans because we just think that those instruments just show up magically, and but there's a lot of behind the scenes with all that. Talk about that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, the playing music part is like the least amount on tour. For New York, I rented instruments there, so I didn't actually, I had it, that was good. Loved that. But in the past on tours, yeah, you're just loading things in and out of a van every night. And on this upcoming tour, which starts next week, we've got a rental van and like backline. Um, and yeah, you usually just have to fly internationally with your guitar and hope it doesn't break. Um, yeah, it's a big job, but I guess it's just part of it. It's what you sign up for.
So now that you have this third album out, what are set lists going to look like? I mean, has it been difficulty like trying to put set lists together? Do you change up your set list each night, or do you kind of stick with the same set list for the tour?
Yeah, good question. We for this tour, we've got a lot of the songs off the new album, and then some off my second album, and then some new songs as well. Um, yeah, I think we've changed it from the Australian tour we did last at the end of last year. Just like put some new songs in there. I just choose things that are fun to play, really, with the band. If they sound good with the band, then they're going in.
Yeah. Do you kind of then kind of determine the crowd then each night then, like kind of like the set list, or do you kind of have it already pre-planned before each night?
Pretty pre-planned, unless it's like, a really loud rockin' crowd. I'm like, maybe I won't do as many folky ones.
Gotcha.
Or if it's a really attentive crowd, I'm like, let's do some folky ones.
Right.
But it really just depends on the setup, especially if it's solo or if it's a trio or if it's the full band.
So this full band that you toured with in the fall is the same band that you're touring then in the spring then? Because you said about
Yeah.
your girlfriend plays bass, right? But is everybody
Yep.
else then the same band members then?
Yeah, yeah. Lucky to have them. So yeah, they toured with me on September, October, November last year
Okay.
in Australia, and then they're touring with me in Europe as well, which is great.
So, I mean, Australia is a huge country geographically. I mean, talk about, touring in Australia when you're doing such a countrywide, like, tour. Like, how much of a gruel is that?
Yeah, it's funny, like you only really tour, I mean, majority of artists only tour on the east coast of Australia
Yeah.
because it's where most of the population's from. Like I've never played in Perth. I've played in like Lithuania, but I haven't played in Perth, which is so silly. But yeah, it's just so big and vast and there's not a lot of people. So yeah, you kind of just do the major cities on the east coast. And then there's lots of nice regional zones in between as well. It's all very east coast focused.
Yeah. So from Perth to like Sydney and Melbourne, like what distance are we talking, like driving wise?
Oh man, like Perth to Melbourne takes like 5 days if you're driving. And there's like
Wow.
one city in between. It's like, I guess it would be like LA to New York, but
Yeah.
there's not as many, there's one city.
Wow. That's
Hmm.
crazy. Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it's big. It's
Yeah.
big.
Wow.
Big and sparsely populated.
But it's crazy because like we were talking about the Burris band, Joan and the Giants, like there's some other like Australian bands from that air Western Australia that are just killing it.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely like great scene there, correct?
totally. Yeah, I got mad respect because I mean, Stella Donnelly's from Perth, who
Yeah.
we're about to go on tour with. She's, yeah, got a lot of respect for Perth bands because it's so isolated from the rest of Australia, let alone the rest of the world.
Do you think that lends to kind of their sound a little bit? Like, or do you think that there's enough variety in sound there that you can't really tell that, oh, they're from Perth?
Yeah, I think it's especially nowadays, like we've
Okay.
all got access to the internet. I do think I've seen Stella talk about this in an interview, which I thought was interesting, is that like bands when they start out in Perth, they really like like kind of cut their teeth and then they go to Melbourne or Sydney and they cut their teeth even more before they go overseas. So it's like a kind of a good, I guess, like breeding ground for like, I don't know, just being tight,
Yeah.
being really practiced. I think that's definitely true for Australian bands that make it overseas. I think like just the amount of work and time and money that goes into getting out of Australia or New Zealand. Um, yeah, you've kind of done your time practicing and like making sure it sounds good. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess the biggest band that's come out of your country in the last 5 years is, I would say, is King Gizzard, correct? Would you agree?
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, King Gears or Courtney Barnett,
Yeah.
there's a lot of legends. But yeah, those bands that tour a lot as well.
Yeah. But I mean,
Mm.
again, like, for you, like, just to talk about from a financial standpoint, because you are in Australia, like, if you're going anywhere, like, your cost compared to any other artist, like, that's in Europe or America, I mean, you're probably looking at 20 to 30% more than what everybody else is paying, correct? I mean, just to get to those
Absolutely.
areas, right?
Totally. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's, like that has to be like factored in, especially when you do get to like a level where you can like where you're at, where you can tour in Europe and America and you can tour in other like parts of the world that aren't Australia, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It just takes a lot to get out of here. Get out of there. I'm not there right now.
Right.
Um, yeah. So I feel like when you do it, you also like got to savor this because you just don't know when it's going to happen again.
Right. Yeah. So in Melbourne, let's talk about like your hometown. What is the music scene there? Like, is it pretty? I mean, you said about the radio stations, but what about like the venues? Are they pretty conducive to like unsigned artists, or is it more like cover bands and like you have to be big enough to get a crowd there?
No, it's amazing. I think it's the best scene in the world, to be honest. Like,
Huh.
especially for emerging unsigned bands. Like, there's not a big cover band scene, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think Melbourne has the most live music venues per like square something in the world. Um, and yeah, we're very lucky. It's amazing, and it's because of a lot of independent people just loving music and putting a lot of time and money into that. Um, and the government supports the arts, but they don't. I don't think they do enough for like the caliber and the output that Australian artists and venues are doing. Um, so I'd love to see more. But yeah, it's a great scene. It's a great scene.
And
Yeah.
I would assume Melbourne is just like Sydney, like very international. You have a lot of people from everywhere, or is it kind of more like, local, like more native?
No, it's definitely multicultural. I mean, Australia is pretty multicultural.
Right.
Um, yeah, I'd say it's very the cities are quite distinct, Melbourne and Sydney. I think there's more music venues and kind of more just a bigger or more diverse scene in Melbourne.
Yeah.
I think that has to do a lot with the cost of living. Like I think Sydney's a lot more expensive than Melbourne. But maybe more of the corporate music industry is in Sydney.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
That's interesting. But they're both on the coast. So, from a city perspective, like other than cost of living, like what would you say is the advantage over one over the other?
I guess it depends. Like Sydney, you can go and swim at the beach like very easily and it's beautiful.
Okay.
Melbourne, you kind of have to go like an hour or an hour and a half. So if I think Sydney's a lot like LA and then Melbourne, I don't know. I guess they say it's more European, but still very much Australian. Yeah, it just depends what you want, really.
Okay.
The weather's probably definitely nicer in Sydney.
So how often, I mean, when you're living in Australia, how often are you making it down to Sydney, or do you not, oh, if you're not touring, you're not really spending much time in Sydney?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like cross-pollination that goes on.
Okay.
Lots of good musicians and scenes over there as well. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a 10-hour drive from Melbourne to Sydney, one way, or an hour flight. Um, so it's still far away.
Yeah. Are those flights pretty reasonable between the two cities, or is it get pretty expensive?
They used to be.
just like everything, right?
Yeah. Totally.
So the so yeah, so let's talk about your other side project or your other musical project with your friend. When did Murray and you guys connect, and how did all of this come about?
Yeah, he sent me just like a random Instagram message the end of 2024, I want to say.
Okay.
And he just moved to Melbourne. Was kind of looking for people to like play with. And I had just finished up with a band I was in, and so I had kind of more free time than usual. And I was like, yeah, we can get a coffee with this guy. And then got a coffee, kind of hit it off, sent each other some music, and then we started like we had like a just like a jam together, and it was like very palpable that we both were kind of I don't know into the same thing and able to riff off each other. Yeah, and then we just kind of very quickly started writing music together and finished an album. Started playing shows. It was really nice, very like serendipitous.
Yeah, and you both like Steely Dan? Is that what I hear?
But it's like Steely Dan. Yeah, I mean, I like Steely Dan. I'm not like a connoisseur.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we like a lot of the same music. Um, and I think we push each other into like new realms in a good way, a good, healthy way, which is rare, I
Yeah.
think.
So had he collaborated with anyone before? Because I know you have. So like this was easy for you, I would assume, but like was it as easy for him?
Yeah, I think he has. I mean, maybe not as much. He's in a band called Fur from the UK who
Okay.
still play and they obviously collaborate with each other as a band. Um, but yeah, I think I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask him.
Yeah. That's so funny. So the album title is called Midtown Downtime. I love this album title. What was the inspiration behind it? And yeah, like do you feel like the title represents the album?
For sure. Yeah. You're in Midtown, you're having some downtime. I think the story goes, fuck, I actually can't remember. Um, he I think he was playing around with like a band name generator or like an anagram generator, and those two words came out. I'm sorry, I'm foggy on those details though.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, we have a lot of fun just like making up names or like hearing random names, like very Spinal Tap kind of. That's the inspiration.
So, a lot of harmonies then, or do you kind of each then sing, your own separate parts?
Lots of harmonies,
Okay.
lots and lots of harmonies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously you wouldn't have been able to do this project if you guys wouldn't have sounded good like
Totally.
what I'm
That's
saying.
it. Yeah. Our voices are quite similar as well.
Yeah.
So they're nice and they complement each other. We have to have separate wedges though. Otherwise we think we're singing, but it's actually the other person and then it's no good.
Yeah. Now, do you use in-ear monitors then when you play, or you don't?
Nah, I'm not there yet. I think I was playing in a loud band for many years before, and now I try and keep everything like really the master quite low so I can hear shit naturally.
Mhm.
I like to feel the sound, feel the air, have a human music experience. But I've used in-ears. I play drums with a lot of bands, and I've used in-ears a lot in that context.
Yeah.
But never for singing. But I'm sure it's really helpful. Everyone who's used them has been like, yeah, it's great. But I don't know, it just kind of always removes me from the audience. And then people talk about like having like a crowd mic. I'm like, this is crazy, guys. But I get it. I don't know. You're on a big stage, things are too loud.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
with you. I've asked that question to a lot of artists and bands, and I feel like I get like a mixed response from people who do use it. Like they're like, yeah, we like it, but like there are times where I take them out and I just want to like feel it. So like
yeah.
they kind of have that same attitude as you do.
But like bad sound is so annoying and it
Yeah.
like can ruin your night. And I'm sure in-ears are more consistent. So I see why.
Yeah, I was surprised actually at New Colossus. We were only there for 36 hours, but we saw 13 bands, and there was very rare sound issues with any of them. Like, did you kind of experience that as well? Like, good sound?
Yeah, we had pretty good sound. I think the first show was a bit hairy, but the other two were pretty good. I mean, we had it pretty lucky because it was trio, so it's like you can't really go too wrong. Um, yeah, I didn't see many in-ears at New Colossus. There was a lot of post-punk bands, a lot of loud bands, so maybe they don't need the in-ears. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think it's really just personal preference. I don't know
Yeah,
if
for
it
sure.
really like, I don't know if it really makes your performance better. I think it's just really a comfort level thing, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
So.
for sure.
Speaking of comfort level, it doesn't seem like you're the type of person that gets anxious or that anxiety kind of drives you in anything. Is that true, or do you have those moments
No, I
more
definitely get
for?
anxious.
Okay. Care to share like
Yeah.
moments or like things that maybe like trigger that or?
Yeah, I get overstimulated, I think, at like busy venues, which is so funny because of, obviously around that all the time. Um, yeah, I don't know. I definitely get socially anxious, um, which I put a lot into my songwriting.
Well, I mean, when that saying, up until you release, your songs into the world, they're yours, right? But then
Mm.
after that, they're everyone else's, like that's kind of a little bit of a mind fuck for people. Like, how do you handle that like phrase?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know, because you spend so much time with your songs. You spend like years when or only you or your friends have been listening to it. I think it's nice when you release it because you're like, all right, now I don't have to listen to this anymore. Like, other people can listen to it. I very rarely, once I've released something, go back and listen to it. I don't know. Oh, I will like maybe 3 years later or like very occasionally. Um, yeah, no, I like it. It's like a release.
Mhm. So when you recorded this third album, you obviously did it with a bunch of people. You recorded it in your home studio, which was the first time since the first album. How many songs did you go into with this, and then how many did we finish with?
I think I only cut 2 songs.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so what, there's 9, so did 11.
Okay.
2 of them didn't make it. Yeah, it was very much like depending on the person, we either wrote a lot of it together or I came in with the instrumental and kind of went from there.
Now, do you typically write your music on piano or guitar? And then are you lyrics first and then music, or are you music first and then lyrics?
Definitely mainly guitar and music first. This album I did play more piano than I have before, which was really great. I definitely write different songs on piano versus guitar. But yeah, I'm definitely a music first person, especially like listening to music and also writing music.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm trying to get better at just writing lyrics or like I have a lyrics notes, and then I try and fit them sometimes into the music, but it just has to be like a good phrasing, just it has to happen. It has to be good phrasing.
So as a multi-instrumentalist, you've said you're a drummer, you've drummed before. Um, how does drumming influence your songwriting and like being the lead singer of a band?
Great question. Yeah, I guess I was a drummer in bands exclusively for years before I started writing songs. So it's such a different experience. Um, and I like having both. I like experiencing both. I think it's so helpful for songwriting for forms. Because drumming, once you've got the part down, that part really doesn't change that much, but the forms are the things that change a lot and I guess keep it more interesting for you.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's been very helpful in terms of structure and forms, and I think finishing songs as well, because you kind of have an idea of the journey. Yeah.
Okay. So you said that your girlfriend is your bassist in the band. Have you only dated musicians in your adult life, or have you dated anyone that's not a musician?
No, she's the only musician I've dated.
Okay. And what do you like about her because she's a musician that compared to like your previous date?
Lots to like. I don't know if we have that much time, but um, yeah, I mean, obviously there's just a shared understanding between us because we're both musicians, we
Yeah.
both play in bands. Um, so that really understanding on a fundamental level is obviously so important in any relationship. Um, yeah, that's probably the main thing, I
Yeah.
guess, in terms of music and relationship vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at how many bands that I've talked to where either their significant other is in the band or like their manager or like they play a role. I
Hmm.
guess I don't know. Maybe I just took that for granted because usually that means like, you never want to mix business with pleasure, kind of like that kind of mantra. But obviously it works for a lot of these bands. Like, how does it work for you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it just makes sense if you both want to do it, you
Yeah.
know, if you both want to play music together. And I guess sometimes they don't, which is so fair. Um, but yeah, I think if it's just the best touring with your partner because, touring apart is really hard. And we've done that before,
Mhm.
you know. She's been on tour in Europe, I've been at home, and then we've swapped. But getting to tour with your partner is the best. It feels so luxurious because you're like, yeah, we're just hanging out, but we're also playing and touring, and like we're not missing each other.
And you get to explore the cities during the day
Yeah,
together. Yeah.
totally. Explore the van,
Get some sleep.
get some sleep.
So, I mean, of the cities that you've toured, let's since this spring or since the fall tour, was there a city that surprised you? Was there a city that disappointed you? Was there a city that blew you away?
Um, ooh, uh, yeah. So fall last year, true. Because yes, sorry, I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'd been to most of the cities before,
Okay.
um, with other bands
Hmm.
before the tour we did last year in March in Europe. Our London show was probably our favorite. Um, I loved the Leeds show. We played in like a bookstore, which was cool. Never done that before. We both really loved the French city Nantes. It's just like, I don't know, beautiful and cool, good scene.
I hear
Um,
that from a lot of bands, like that aren't from France, that when they play in France, like the crowds there are really into music. Is that, have you
yeah,
gotten that as well?
absolutely. Totally. It's probably one of my favorite places to play. I think
Yeah.
because there's such a long cultural history of supporting the arts. It's like a given. Um, yeah. And I think French audiences love Australian music as well. I
Okay.
don't know why, but I've definitely felt that.
Yeah. So I guess is there a city on the map that you have not played that you would love to play that would be on like your radar? Like venue
Totally.
withstanding.
Totally. Yeah. Heaps. I'd love to play in Asia. I've never been there. Like I've never played there before. And it's obviously closer to Australia. Um, yeah, I would love to play in more in the US. It's hard, but um most of my listeners are in the US, funnily enough. So I feel like it would be fun to maybe meet some of those people,
Yeah.
play in those places. Yeah, anywhere.
Well, I mean, you got a place to stay in Nashville and Pennsylvania at least, right?
Unreal.
Maybe
Totally.
New York now since you've been to the festival.
Yeah, yeah, for
Made
sure.
some connections up there. So yeah, I mean, so we talked about this. I mean, in 2025, you played 65 gigs and you were in 7 countries. I mean, like prognosticating out now, like that's about what you're going to have this year, or are you going to see more or less, or what do we got for 2026?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, who's to know? There's a few more tours that are like in the pipeline for
Okay.
like the middle of this year, and who knows what's going to happen at the end of the year. Um, yeah, I have no idea. I mean, yeah, we're doing 13 shows on this in April on this European tour, which is pretty like chill in terms of compared to previous tours I've done.
Yeah.
Usually you do like 25 shows in a month, which just is crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of keen to do this more
Yeah.
spaced out version. Um, who knows? that's what I love about kind of living a creative life, I guess.
Mhm.
As hard as it is, it's the unknowns that are kind of exciting.
So, I mean, growing up, like, did you have any like doubters, or did you have anyone that told you, "Oh, Winter, you don't want to do this. You want to do that instead"? Like, any family members or any like, people that you looked up to that said, you don't want to do this.
Definitely not family members. I think I was very lucky there because I had my brother is also an artist.
Oh,
He's
nice.
like more in like media and film. Um, and my parents obviously support the arts. So they were very supportive. The only one that springs to mind is like a PE teacher I had at the end of high school, and he was like, "You're gonna go study music? Like that's your plan?" I was like, "Yeah. What do you? I don't know." I was always pissed off about that, but
Yeah.
I've made my peace with that.
He's no longer teaching.
He's not teaching me. I mean, I hope he's still yeah, I hope he's well.
That's hilarious. So, my last question for you, because you've done enough solo stuff live. Now you're doing this full band stuff. Like you said in New York, you did like the three piece. You've done
Mhm.
a lot of iterations of, but still playing the same music. How, is that kind of a mind fuck as well, or do you kind of like enjoy all of that, like the iterations?
Yeah, I think keeps it fresh for you, right? Like I've been bored on tours before and it's really it's not good. You don't want to be that. So I think it does keep it really fresh for me. And playing with different people is always a different experience, even if the song is the same, you know? Um, and I love the full band, like the four piece. I think it's gonna be a really fun tour
Yeah.
in April. Um, yeah.
Do you have a different mindset when you're the opening band compared to being the headliner, or do you kind of have the same mindset no matter what?
No, totally, totally different. I think I love being the opener or being on a festival where it's like not your show, you
Yeah.
know? I think there's more freedom or something. But then I guess when you're headlining, it's like we can do what we want because like it's our show.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we have a mix, on this April tour. We've got the two shows with Stella at the start, and then we've got like I think like 10 or 11 headline shows, and then we finish it with another support slot with an American band called Gliders.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so hopefully that'll be a nice mix.
Nice. Well, the best of luck, my friend, and hopefully you get to the States again so we can come see you in the near future.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you at New Colossus. It was a pleasure to have this interview. So thank you so much.
No
Uh,
worries. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell everybody how the best way to get a hold, or like to find you on the internet and all that stuff, your socials and stuff.
Yep, I'm on all the streamings, Bandcamp, Instagram, email. Send me an email.
Old school. He's old school.
Yeah, please. Send me a pigeon.
Well, best of luck on tour, my friend. And yeah, like I said, hopefully we can get you in the States before the end of the year, at least next year. And yeah, any new music that we can expect from now until the end of the year?
Big time. Yeah, actually lots, which is great. So yeah, Beefheart and McQuinn have a new album, like our debut album coming out in May. And then me and Acacia, my partner, have a new EP that will also be coming out this year.
Nice.
Which is exciting.
Okay. Same kind of vibe musically wise, or what are we looking at?
Yeah, to the last EP, I think it's more of an evolution. Um, yeah, we did it with our friend Snowy, who's a very talented Australian artist. He's produced it. Yeah, that's all I'll say. It's coming out this year.
Cool. Well, we'll look
Keep
forward
your
to
eyes
that, my
out.
friend. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Enjoy tour. Enjoy the rest of your time in Berlin.
Thanks,
And
man. Thanks for chatting.
absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us and helps the bands and artists like Winter. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear, RAR. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Dog. You've been great. This is the Music Lab Podcast.